Revision is basically manifesting the past. This is how I like to explain it. Just the same way that when you're manifesting something in the future, you're choosing what to happen. So revision, you're choosing a different outcome than what happened, what actually happened. I know it so deeply that this world is nothing but my mind. I remember actually in the beginning of Law of Attraction, looking around and saying, wow, I created every single thing that I'm looking at. And I said, one day I want to get to the point to where I know how. I can trace everything around me back to a thought of me thinking about it. And now I'm there. So
What?
really understanding there's no time. So if there's no time, there's no waiting, there's no buffering, there's no unfolding even. It's just now. But we, as the powerful gods, decide that this is probably going to take me whatever time. Nobody, it's like I tell the people on my channel, there's no God in the sky that's opening the clouds like that manifestation takes 21 days. Like nobody's saying that except you.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Kotodama Podcast. The guest I have with me today is Olivia Joy Grace. She is a manifestation coach. She's a YouTuber. She teaches the law of assumption and how to become your true self and manifest the life that you always wanted to live. And guys, I have to say, I am fangirling a bit because I am a longer time subscriber of hers. And I'm so honored to have her on my podcast. So welcome to the show, Olivia. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Janem, for having me. I'm also honored to be here and so excited to talk with you tonight.
Yay! It's tonight for you and morning for me.
Yeah.
I always find that so cool, like a grandma living in the future, but I'm always like, this is amazing. So my first question for you is, I know you do a lot of videos and you talk about, how to manifest the life of your dreams and how to you have this very beautiful way of teaching that is very spiritual, very esoteric. Your energy feels very grounded to me. And I really admire it as well. It's really inspiring. And I wanted to ask you, how did you first discover the law of attraction or the law of assumption, or either, and how did you realize that this is something that works?
Well, that's a great question. So I'll start with the law of attraction because that's what got me into manifestation. And actually, my best friend had a spiritual awakening and she got into the law of attraction and she was telling me about it. And before knowing about the law of attraction, I kind of was already on the path of spiritual awakening. I had gotten into meditation, I had gotten into Buddhism. And even before all of that, I always had this sense that there's something more to the world than what is seen and what is known, but I didn't know what that was. And so the moment that everything clicked for me was I was reading about my friend sent me a text and she's like, do you know that you create your reality? And for whatever reason, it just resonated so deeply with me. And I remember I was sitting outside and I was like, wow, the only way that this could be better is if the guy that I was talking to at the time, I was like, if he was here. And immediately as I thought it, he texted me. And so I was like, oh, like I had that kind of instant confirmation of my thoughts creating reality. And so I really think that that helped me in manifestation because to be honest, there wasn't if there was any doubt, it wasn't a long period of doubt of trying to figure out, is this real? Does manifestation work? I had that kind of immediate confirmation. So I knew it was real and I knew it worked. And I was more concerned about how to make this work for me in the areas that I care about. And I studied the law of attraction for about I can't even say a time now, but it was a while before I actually got to the law of assumption. And that I was kind of brought in by another YouTuber. Her name is Manifest Fast with Jasmine. She talked a lot about the God state. And when I was listening to her content, she didn't necessarily reference Neville, but it led me down that track of the law of assumption, and that's how I got into it.
I love that so much because for me as well, I had my first spiritual awakening, I think when I was 22, so 9 years ago or something, which happened in a meditation. But then once I realized and got into it more, as you said, like a whole world kind of opens up, but it resonates really deeply. It just makes sense. It rings true. I am also a Neville fan. I love Neville Goddard so much. Sometimes I listen to his teachings while I'm, walking outside, and it's just, It's so beautiful. And yeah, so I love that. What would you say is the difference, though, for people who don't know, between the law of attraction and the law of assumption? I mean, essentially, I think essentially they're saying the same thing, but like in different ways, and there's a different approach, right?
Yeah. I feel like the difference between them is that the law of attraction focuses a lot on like outward forces being what brings, your manifestation to you. Kind of like it's up to the universe. Is it divine timing? Is it aligned with your path? Is it what you're supposed to have? And now the plus side I'll say of a law of attraction is that I feel like it is more spiritual in a sense. Well, the community tends to be more spiritual and actually more interested in what is beyond earth than just like, get me this, get me this, get me this. And now law of assumption is more about you being the source of everything. So instead of bringing things to you, you're kind of emanating reality from you, and you being the operant power. There's not a universe that you're asking like, hey, is it cool if I get this thing? It's yourself assuming and giving it to yourself and experiencing it that way. I feel like one of the main differences, as far as, because I honestly find pros and cons in both schools of teaching. The law of attraction focuses on your vibration, which a lot of people in the law of assumption are like, oh, vibration is dumb. But in all my years of manifesting, I'm seeing that that's really all we want, is to feel incredible and feel amazing. And so law of attraction starts from that point of finding that first and kind of letting life fill in the gaps, which is cool and great. But where that falls short is when you need something specific, right? Or you do have an identity that, no matter how happy you are, I don't care how happy you are, if you believe that money is scarce and it's never available to me, that's going to be your experience. And so law of assumption, I feel like, helps us be more specific and more intentional about what exactly we want to bring into our lives, and gives you obviously so much more room to play and to test things out and to manifest whatever you want. But because of that, people kind of miss the point, which is their happiness. So they're spending years chasing one thing or one person or one whatever, and they're literally like, by the time they get the thing, their mental health is in shambles. And it's like, was it worth it for you to arrive to get this one thing that you feel good about for like 2 seconds, to sacrifice all of your happiness all along the way? So they're both amazing though. I also love Neville. I just feel like he gave us such a great gift with his teachings, and yeah.
Yes, I read 6 of his books. I had like at one point I had this like book that included all of his books, so I read them from the beginning. I never finished the book, and then I gave it away because I moved out of the country, whatever. But I read 6 of his books. It is highly, highly esoteric, but quite simple, and that's why I love what I love about Neville. He's very much simple words, especially for the time that he was teaching. But yeah, what you said there is so true. And I feel like it's a toolbox, right? All of these spiritual teachings are a toolbox. And I think we are really limiting ourselves if we just do one thing, right? And we are just like, this is the one thing and I cannot accept anything else. The truth is, so many different things work, right? This is why for some people, visualization is the thing that manifests for them. For other people, it's the affirmations. For other people, it's the shadow work. I personally do a lot of it. I do shadow work. I do a lot of shamanic soul retrieval. I also do a lot of meditation. And I also do a lot of affirmations. I love affirming as well. And so,
Right.
if we can like use these tools and pick and choose also for where you are in life. But what you said there is really important, I think, because people often miss the point. And at the same time, if we just focus on these vibrations and you don't really want the money, you just want the love. Like, yeah, dude, but I also want the money. Can I just first have the money to enjoy my life? Like, I'm a physical being. I'm a
Right.
human. So this is what I love about the law of assumption. It's much more in reality grounded in the human experience of it all. So yeah, this is what I love about you, because your teachings are highly spiritual. What I mean, like esoteric, like you really are channeling. I feel you're channeling when you talk, especially when you do these lives or you just talk. And I think everyone who's tuned in can tell you're actually channeling information. And do you feel that way when are you in the flow when you do that?
Yes. And I didn't know that I also don't really like editing or, I to be honest, it probably came from just laziness and me like being like, I don't want to overthink and like delete I was just like, I'm about to press record and I'm gonna go and that's gonna be good enough. Whatever it is, it's gonna be good enough. And but I did notice, like I've been told that I'm a channel by a couple of other channels. And I didn't know that that's what it was because nothing happens. Like I don't, like Abraham Hicks, she goes into a space and she kind of breathes into it, or people go into trance, and there's different types of channeling. But I just kind of start talking, and it's like one stream just coming through me, and I'm just like, I'm just the vessel for the message, basically.
You are, and honestly, that's art. I mean, sorry, I'm going on a different tangent now, but it is channeling because what Abraham Hicks and, Bashar, I'm a big Bashar fan. I don't know if you're into his thing as well, but I
Yes, I know
love him.
Bashar.
Okay, yay. Because Bashar and, Abraham Hicks, what they have in common is they're clear channels. They kind of disappear or they kind of go in the back seat when they channel. But what you do is much more of a natural type of channeling that I think most people sometimes do when they're in the flow state, when a musician is just kind of creating, when an artist is just painting. That's kind of how you channel. I always felt that with you. And that's why it's so, you have this beautiful calming energy, girl. Like I love you so much. I'm like fangirling over here, trying to keep on track with the questions. But so is there like a moment when you already said, when your friend texted you and you realized it would be even better if whatever this guy you were dating, and then he texts you in that moment. Is there another like moment that you specifically consciously, I mean, we manifest 24/7, but when was there a moment that you remember that you consciously manifested something when you were like, this really works, game changer?
Yes, actually. So I had a similar experience with the law of assumption. So once I learned about the law of assumption, I was immediately obsessed. Like I was obsessed. I was reading all day. Any moment I had to myself, I was reading like Reddit posts and just all these things about people's experiences and everything like that. And so again, I think my gift is not there wasn't a lot of doubt in me of, is this really true or is that real? It was more like, it's real. How do I get it to work for me? Right. And so the experience I had was I was going to Puerto Rico and I was in the airport. So I used the airport as an experience to basically play with my reality. And it was insane. Like I would be like, okay, we're going to see a matching couple, like a matching outfit. We would see like 3 or 4 different couples, families, all matching. I'd say we're gonna see someone with this certain type of shirt on, that would happen. Like, and I just got more and more specific. I literally got to the point where I said, there's gonna be a couple like super affectionate and like the girl is gonna grab the guy's butt. And it happened. And they were matching. Yeah, like
Did
this, and there's one more too, actually, because that was with the law of assumption. There was a revision with that as well. So I had been reading about revision, and I was just like, now that it was like, I was like, now that sounds crazy. Like changing the past, like that doesn't make any sense. And so, but I was like, well, everything else that this guy has said is true. So let me try. And so I had asked my boyfriend to go, like, he was going to get me food and he asked me what I wanted. I said, I want a salad. And after he left, I was like, dang, I'm hungry though. Maybe I want a sandwich instead. And so I was like, well, let me try this revision. I mean, what's the worst that can happen, So I revised the conversation and I was like, no, I told him that I told him to bring me a sandwich. And so I see him walking back and he's holding the salad in his hand. So I was like, oh, I guess it didn't work. It's fine, whatever. He pulls the sandwich out of the bag, right? Because he has a bag on his arm as well. And he goes, I actually had already bought you this sandwich before I called you. And then you said you wanted the salad. So I got you the salad too. I was like, what? So then I was like, okay, like revision definitely works. I had another experience even with the law of attraction. This was one of my coolest experiences, especially as an early manifester. At that time, like life was just magical. I was serving tables and it was like everybody in the restaurant, all of us were manifestors. So we all together were manifesting the customers coming in and we were like, there'll be a guy that's bald, that wears glasses, that waddles, and with a green shirt literally walks in the door. We were like, we're gonna do dark hair, blue eyes, tan, and gay. Literally, they're like, "He's in your section, he's in your section. There's a guy, he's dark hair, blue eye, he looks like Leonardo DiCaprio, and he's gay, and he's sitting in my section." Like, we did that with, like, a whole bunch of people, so I have a lot of real time, like, instant confirmation that this really does work.
That is so crazy. I love
Yeah.
also, by the way, the playfulness of it all, guys. Try it
Yes.
out. Honestly, it's so cool. I've never, that's so crazy. I love that. This is the instant thing too. I mean, you opened so many different topics there that I want to dive into. So first of all, the playfulness of it all, like we think it's, it always has to be these big serious topics. Like, can we just first play around, see how it works?
Yes.
I saw this reel the other day on Instagram where a guy was talking about, he was in the woods with a group, and this like guy taught them that they can move the stars. And this is
Mm,
something that again, for people it's like, oh, that's impossible. It's out there. And then I'm like, how can you believe in manifestation or in, creation of reality, or let's say choosing of reality, whichever you want to say, and think that anything is outside of yourself, right?
right.
And so the question is, did you manifest it? Did you channel it to happen? And I think it's both. Both is happening at the same time, and it's just interesting. And I don't think our brains are actually made to understand the whole fabric of reality anyways. Maybe we should just understand this is the power we have, and what good can we do with it, right? But oh my God, there's something I wanted to. Oh yeah, the revision. Okay, so for anyone who's
Okay.
listening, people who
Yes.
know you, they will know what revision is. But for my audience, maybe for people who don't know what revision is, can you explain what that is?
Yes. So revision is basically manifesting the past. This is how I like to explain it. Just the same way that when you're manifesting something in the future, you're choosing what to happen. So revision, you're choosing a different outcome than what happened, what actually happened. So I don't want to get too deep because it can get really like it can get really deep, but in the most simple way, the way that revision usually works, there's a variable ways that it could work, but for instance, like the story that I told where I asked for the salad, but then I wanted the sandwich. I revised that I did ask for the sandwich, and then he tells me he had already bought the sandwich anyway. It's like it shifts you on a timeline where the past that you experienced, you now like the present moment that you're experiencing now matches the past that you just revised. So that's usually what I experience with revision.
Yes, and it's so interesting because people are like, you cannot change the past. Guys, there is no time. Like
Right.
literally, to keep it simple, there is no future and there is no past. It's only an eternal moment of now that we are looking at from different perspectives. So when I look at this from a healing perspective, as a healer, as healing myself, and I change something that happened in my childhood, literally, I don't care if anyone believes me or not. I will talk with someone that this thing happened in the past and they will not remember it happening. And
Mhm.
honestly, that's another thing again. Does it matter if it works? You know? But it is so magical. And I love how I think for people, it's like, it's not possible. What do you mean changing the past? And what even is reality? If we talk about that, what even is reality? And I think it's so beautiful the way you're playfully describing that. And I remember, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I remember you talk about manifesting your SP. So a specific person, right? For a lot of people, this is a romantic a specific romantic person that they want to attract into their lives, or a friendship, a specific person that they want back in their lives, or whatever, want to mend a relationship. But I remember you, I think, talking about your SP and how you shifted yourself and the relationship shifted. Can you talk a little bit about that if you're open for that?
Sure. So when it comes to the SP, my journey was honestly a little difficult because I spent a lot of time in desperate energy and forcing energy and not really paying attention to my self-concept because I was in such a need and longing to just get us back together. But when I did actually look at myself and look at like who I was being and actually embody that, because what I find is that a lot of people are doing self-concept work as a technique. So it's like, "Oh, okay, I need to, like, love and accept myself and have good beliefs about myself. Sure, I'll hurry up and do that so I can get this person," but it's not really authentic. And so for me, I started to really embody my worth and my value. And at that time, what it meant for me was walking away and really just saying, "Hey, this whatever we got going on is not what I want for myself." And so, that's that. And then he ended up shifting and coming back. There was still like a rough patch that happened, like, as we were still talking and getting back together. But what actually really shifted the relationship was revision once again. And I will say with revision, like, I know that everybody, so many people, like, even people who follow me for a very long time, like, stay away from revision because it just sounds so outlandish. And I always think back to that moment in the airport where I was like, this is too crazy. And I could have just, like, stayed there and said, this is too crazy, and not, you know, followed through and not tried it, and then I would just never be able to experience all the magic that I've experienced from revision. So I just encourage people, like, it sounds crazy, try it. You will get the result and it will prove itself to you. But yes, revising that the relationship was always perfect, that is what actually shifted the relationship in its entirety, and made it much better, and definitely less of the trying and efforting, but um really understanding, because I teach a lot of people now about bringing back their SP and understanding that you are the cause. I think with the SP journey, it's very difficult when someone is triggering you and your heart and your emotions are so deeply involved, and it's difficult to separate that, hey, these are my beliefs. It's not me being rejected. It's not me that's unwanted. It's the beliefs and the assumptions that I have that are playing out through this person. It's not this person that's wrong or bad. It's my beliefs and my assumptions that are playing out through them. And then when you go to the control center, as I say, which is yourself, and actually fix your beliefs and your assumptions about yourself, most importantly, sure, the SP as well, but most importantly, yourself, that's when everything really shifts.
Yes, and I think again now to go a little bit into this SP idea of how you say you kind of gave up, and that's also when you realized maybe, hey, I'm actually worth a better kind of treatment, and I really start to love myself more, and it sounds like then obviously the shift happens. Um, what do you think about people who, I think this is a difficult topic somehow, this SP thing. Because I absolutely think it's possible. And I think it happens all the time, even without people realizing that it's happening, you know. But I often see women in these communities who are treated just so badly. And I'm like, how do you even want him? Like that's a different question. But then also, can we, so I think there's like different conversations here that we could go into of like, should your self-worth and your love actually be at a place where you don't even want anyone like that? Or are we really looking at this from this God perspective of you are the ultimate creator and what happened is actually irrelevant, because at any moment in time you can choose a new reality, a new past, you can become literally a new person, not like metaphorically a new person, but literally a new person. And doesn't it actually matter if you get what you want in the end? Like, do you think about this? Do you get questions like this? I mean, what do you feel like is the ethics of it all there? And I don't mean are you manipulating someone? Because we can also go
Yeah.
into that. I don't think that that's what's happening, but the ethics of what I just described, like your self-love versus, doesn't it matter because the person isn't really them anymore and you're not really you anymore,
Yes. I love this question. And yes, this is basically the debate on my channel all the time when I talk about SPs, because this is the truth of it. Number one, this is just my opinion, but really they're both true. Your self-concept and your self-worth is like, you shouldn't, I don't believe in allowing someone to disrespect you and harm you and treat you like trash. But what you said on the other side is also true, that, well, you're the god of your reality. The situation doesn't really matter, right? It's the situation was just a reflection of your beliefs and assumptions. However, this is the problem, is that really truly like understanding and embodying that you are the god of your reality. A lot of the women that are chasing SPs are nowhere near that consciousness. They're in desperation, they're in lack, they're in little, I'm little me and this SP is everything, they're God. And so they're using the concept of I'm God of my reality and I can have anything, but their self concept and their actual belief about self is not really there. And that's why they have such a struggle with actually getting the result because as I put it in my videos, they're not really about all that stuff that they talk about. You're not, because let's think about it seriously. If a god was in a relationship with somebody that was treating them like trash, I don't think the god would be like, "Oh my god, you're the love of my life." Like a god would think highly of themselves. And even it's not to say, like, okay, you created it, but I don't think a god is going to sit there and let someone treat them terribly. And to be honest, just like you said, what part of you is attracted to someone who treats you terribly? And that what is the part of you that's attracted to them a lot of times is the part that is preventing you from manifesting them back because it's a self-worth thing. Someone who really truly loves and honors and respects themselves is only going to put up with so much wrong treatment before they decide, "Hey, this isn't for me," let alone spend so much time and energy on bringing someone back. And I think that it can be unhealthy sometimes because these women are in these low self-worths and low self-concept. The situation is confirming their low self-worth and self-concept, and they really believe that getting this person back is going to raise their self-concept and self-worth, and at the whole time they're just compromising their self-love. They're just compromising their value the whole time. And then the idea of, yeah, but you can have this, toxic guy that's terrible to you be good. That is like the shiniest thing because that's what any woman wants. She wants the woman or she wants the man that she loves to show up or the woman that she loves to show up in a way that she prefers. She doesn't want to we don't want to have to trade him out if we don't have to. But at what cost? That's the question for me.
Yes, yes. And I think, it's interesting because we talk, this is a bit of an ethical conversation as well. Because I feel like a lot of people in the community are completely bypassing their own self-love journey. And I understand I've been there before. And, ironically, even women who don't know about anything about you create your reality, the moment they realize this is not, no, I will not be treated this way. The men always come back, guys. Spoiler
Yes.
alert. It's the same thing, man. Like, it's, of course, like, but yeah, it is such an ethical conversation and so interesting to talk with you about this. And what would you tell people who think you are like when you talked about even the playfulness of it all, right? You're in this store and you're like, let's say you see a couple and you're like, she's gonna grab his bum, like grab his ass or whatever. What do you say to people who say this is manipulation or witchcraft?
um, to the manipulation, I get that because I used to think that too. I used to think that when I first got into law of assumption, I was like, SP manifesting. Oh my God, that's so. But the thing is, you're manipulating your whole world. Your whole world is stemming from you, whether you're conscious about it or you're not conscious about it. So, whether you create somebody to fall in love with you or you create somebody to ignore you, you're still creating it. It's just really about getting your beliefs in alignment with what it is that you want to experience. As far as witchcraft, I get why people would say that. But I think I made a TikTok about this before, and I was talking about the difference between manifestation, witchcraft, and religion. And I was basically saying that all of these things are basically about setting an intention and receiving a result. If a religious person wants something, they're going to pray and expect to receive it. If a witchcraft or someone who practices witchcraft wants a result, they're going to do a spell, they're going to do a ritual and expect to receive it. A manifester is going to script or visualize and expect to receive it. So there's not really it's all really the same thing. How do you communicate with that, with the ethers, with the with what's beyond the physical, the non-physical. What is your way of communicating, connecting with that? That is, I feel like, what separates religion, manifestation, and witchcraft. So, and really I mean, I could be biased to say this, but to me, it's fundamental law. It's all manifestation. It doesn't matter what way that you practice or what way you really relate to the ethers or the non-physical. We're all manifesting. This whole experience as a manifestation. So,
Absolutely. And there's two things I want to go into there. One is thinking that you're manipulating someone means you're still looking at it from a separation point of view. I think actually we're not, I mean, I want to know how you think about this. I don't think we're actually creating. I think creation is finished. I think we are choosing. And I think we are switching through billions and billions of parallel realities every millisecond or even more. And I think we're not really realizing it because we are in a similar vibration. So similar things happen.
Mhm.
But I think that idea of manipulation and witchcraft doesn't, again, it completely misses the point of it comes through you. It is you. Everybody is one. It's almost like, and who knows really how that would look like from a 5D, 6D perspective. I don't know. Right now I'm in this physical body. I don't need to know how it works, right? I just need to know it works. And there's a lecture of Neville, and I don't know if you remember this one or heard this one before, but he says, instead of trying to help this client, I could have just seen him as healthy.
Mhm.
And if we understand this this is a very difficult, to grasp conversation. I think it's a very deep conversation, but seeing someone and expecting the worst of them and focusing on their issues and really in your mind going over and over the problems that happened in the relationships and the thing that they did to you or the thing that they did to others, whatever relationship that is, ultimately is thinking bad thoughts and whatever you think, if you believe in like thought creates reality of, or like it is in a way focusing on the worst parts of a human. I don't think necessarily everyone is worth you focusing on them positively, but yeah, it's do you know what I'm trying to say here? It's such a deep and broad conversation. Like my words are not really computing right now what I'm seeing in my mind. It's a deep conversation to be had.
Yeah, I think you're articulating it beautifully, to be honest.
Thank you.
And I feel like you're 100% right. It is, I like seeing reality as like a simulation. I love parallel realities. I feel like that is what helps people to understand creation is finished and how circumstances don't matter, how you're not, as you said, like changing a person, you're choosing a different version of them. And the way that I really see it is like I am the projector, and whatever film I put over the projector is going to project that. And so, whatever film that I wanna put on, then that's what I put on, and that's what it's gonna project. So it's always how it always starts fundamentally with what you believe about yourself. Because the reason why people have to focus on the negatives in everybody is from fear. Because if I can figure out all the negatives of this person and hyperfixate on them, then I can protect myself from them harming me, right? And like you said, this idea of separation, that this person is over there and I'm over here and we're separate beings and I'm manipulating you. But it's like you said, it's more that this whole reality is emanating, it's your consciousness and form. It's a dream. And so in your dream, reality is very similar to lucid dreaming. Like when you're dreaming, you like I've had times where I wasn't even lucid in the dream, but when I woke up, I was aware of my train of thought of what I was thinking. And my thoughts are manifesting as form instantly in dreams, whether I'm awake, whether I'm lucid or I'm not lucid. And so is it manipulation? It's just what it is. The reality, the dream is responding to you because it is you, like you said. So yeah.
Yes, and how are we to say that, this, everybody knows this, guys, even people who are absolute skeptics who are watching this right now, you already had this moment before where you thought of someone that you didn't think about for years, and 2 seconds later they sent you a message, right? The question is, did you do that? Did they do that? Did we all do that together? I think it's both. I think whatever it is, right? But in the end, I really believe in this free will. And this is also where I think, for me, healing always comes into this situation too, right? I really believe it's easier sometimes, right? Like, of course, I think it is absolutely possible to just manifest something, like even an illness, just away, just through focus. Absolutely possible. But I do think it is easier for the human mind, with the trauma and with the issues and the resistance that we have and the specific things that we go through, to do a healing session on it. And I don't know why people have this crazy resistance about it. It's the same thing. It's basically revision. It's basically manifestation. But I think it's easier sometimes to work with the resistance, to not be like, let's say you have a very limiting belief about money, and like, oh, I'm poor. Money is easy. Money is hard for me to get, whatever. Did you see the Freudian slip? I'm just like, money is easy. That's my belief.
I love that.
Look at me. Yeah, but see, like, and of course you can sit there. I really believe that. Shut the world out, meditate, focus on an affirmation, visualize yourself having money. You will eventually get money, faster or quicker. Faster or slower. See, but but for me, I think it's often easier to just work with the issue and just be like, okay, why do I think this way? Let's look into it. And people are like, no, you're going to manifest more of that. No, you can work with it. It's okay. Just because you're afraid of, let's say, someone, breaking into your house and stealing your stuff doesn't mean it's going to immediately happen. It's just an anxiety that you have. It doesn't mean everything instantly manifests. Thank God. That's why we have this 3D reality where everything is a little bit of a time delay. Sometimes, most of the times, a little bit of a time delay. So you don't have to panic about that, is what I think. So how do you feel about healing or therapy or any of these kinds of modalities to help with, creating the life that you love, that you want?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I believe it depends on what state of consciousness that you're at and what the thing that you're healing, like how deep the thing that you're healing is. So I guess let's start on the trippier side of things, like talk about the bypassing of healing, right? I feel like the way of really bypassing it is by understanding that you're not actually the version that was traumatized. This really comes from not identifying with the avatar and knowing that you are God occupying a body. And so the body is not actually you. And this is the shift that really truly allows you to bypass, because when you realize that, wait, you don't identify with the trauma, you don't identify with whatever you're healing, and you realize that you are and always have been above it. Even when we think about the fact that there's no time, well, how can you heal? What is a healing then? Because healing implies there's a thing that I'm kind of chipping away at and chipping away at and chipping away. And eventually I reveal to myself the healed me. But actually, in every moment, you're choosing a reality where I'm a little bit more healed. I'm a little bit more healed. Eventually, you give yourself permission and say, I'm fully healed now. And for everybody, that's different. For some people, it's like, I'm going to put the subliminal on. There we go. For some people, it's like, this is going to be 10 years. I need a shaman. I need some, and it's going to be that. It doesn't really matter, which one you choose now. And this is what I say, like it's the level of consciousness, because where the spiritual bypassing or suppressing comes in, where someone is not at that consciousness, they are identified with the character. They do believe this happened to me. This version of me that experienced that is the only version of me. That's who I am. It's who I identify as. It's too painful for me to look at, so I'm just going to affirm over it and, get this physical validation to kind of, pacify whatever I'm feeling. But the identity hasn't changed. And this is where that's what matters. Like, it doesn't matter if you manifest money or your person or a physical appearance or whatever it is. If your identity is still the same, you are going to create the same experience. You're going to have the same experience. So if you're not changing the identity, these are the people that are like, oh, self-concept. No, I can't look at it. And it's like, but that is that I like to say it's your seed. So it's like if you have an apple seed and you drop it down in the ground, the tree that sprouts is going to grow apples. So if you have a self concept that is like, I'm unworthy, it's going to grow unworthy circumstances and things and experiences. And so while you can pick every apple and say, I got to manifest this to be a worthy circumstance, I'm going to pick my experience in love and my experience in money and my experience at work and my experience with my body and my experience, and I'm going to get all these things to reflect this worthiness. But by the time you do all of that, your tree has already produced more apples of unworthiness because that's the seed. That's who you believe that you are. And I have my little self concept like flow chart, and it starts with the core belief, which is the identity or the self concept. The core belief and identity is what leads to the specific beliefs and assumptions, which are what lead to the specific experience in 3D. And so most people spend their time focused on the experience in 3D. And that's them like on the apples, like, oh my gosh, I have to, whatever. And it's like, then some people get to the specific beliefs and assumptions, right? And they're like, okay, I'm going to work on my beliefs and assumptions, but you're not working on the factory of those beliefs and assumptions. And so the factory is your identity. It's going to keep producing like things until you realize or change who you are thinking that you are, who you're identifying as. And so in that state, when it does help to look at what do I really believe? For me, when it comes to healing or shadow work, the help that I find in that is that it makes things make sense to me. So like when I, for instance, like when I was on an SP journey, I realized a big block of mine was feeling unwanted. And I didn't know, like, I wasn't even aware of that, like, until all of that happened. But when I traced it back to being the middle child, I had always felt unwanted. I always felt discarded, like, and even in experiences with friends and at school. And I saw it in everything. And so when I saw it there, then it made sense to me. And then what happens is next time you feel unwanted, instead of going to the identity and saying, see, here it is again, proof that I'm unwanted, it's, oh, here's evidence of that story that I've been telling. Just like everything else, all these stories are confirming the same thing. So it kind of takes the power out of what you're experiencing and stops that loop of what's happening is who I am. It's like, no, what's happening is what I've been believing about myself. And I don't have to continue to believe that. And that's the healing and, the shadow work and things like that. But it just depends where you're at. Like certain things, maybe in money, it was as simple as a few affirmations and you were good. Maybe in love, it's like, you need to be on the Reiki table for like 3 months, whatever. Like it just depends on where you're identified, I think.
Absolutely. What you're talking about is the permission slip in Bashar's words, or what Dr. Joe Dispenza calls the placebo. You are the placebo. Whichever way you take it, if it is a meditation or like a hypnosis session, or if it is that makes you stop smoking, right? Or if it is just an affirmation. Maybe it's just a decision. But what the core of it all is what you just said, and you call it the identity. What do I identify as? This is really deep. This is a really deep concept. Oh my God. Guys, right now you have to immediately subscribe to her, to Olivia. Like, this is genius. She's so on another level. But it is literally that, right? You call it the identity. Neville Goddard calls it the state, right? Which state are you in? Who are you? Who am I? This is what I love about Neville, by the way. Oh my God, such a fangirling moment to him as well. But his like I am meditation. Just sit in the I am and just I am. What do I identify as? It is the God state. It is going back to still being like, okay, this is still a part of me, like the body, who I am, but also kind of like stepping out of it and stepping into this higher self, right? Or what people call the God self. And also realizing that you are not this thing. You are not really this girl who is, like, for me, for example, like a Turkish girl, born in a working class immigrant family in Germany, and then now, and things about it that I like and not like about the identity that, I hold, but ultimately realizing the real spiritual truth of it all is that this is not all of it. But you're talking about these concepts in such a wonderful way. You're really articulate and intelligent the way you're saying it, because identity is something that I think most people understand. Who are you identifying as? Yes. It's almost like, I think sometimes it helps when you want to manifest something. I don't know if you agree with it, to just pretend you're acting. Like imagine you're in a movie and you're acting to be the popular girl or something, right? Or
Yes.
you're acting to be the pretty girl. Do you know, by the way, the movie I Feel Pretty?
Yes.
Oh my God, this movie. Honestly, I just watched it because I was like, it's going to be an easy comedy with Amy Schumer, whatever. It's quite deep. It
Yes.
teaches a lot about identity. Guys, watch the movie. Even boys, right? Watch the movie. It's amazing. It teaches you about
Yes.
how the perception of yourself changes how everybody else reacts to you.
Mhm.
I also have this moment, by the way, on a daily basis where I kind of step back in moments where everyone else is kind of like in a panic state, let's say at a workplace, and everybody's like, oh my God, if we don't get this deadline, if we don't, if this, and I'm like, yeah, and then what? So what's the worst thing that can happen? You know, the fears that we have, I think we often don't look at it deep enough. And
Mhm.
also, I can only be hurt by the situation if I choose to be hurt by the situation, you know?
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, but I wanted to ask you as well, Olivia. Now going on to a different topic, but what made you decide to create a YouTube channel?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. It was so long ago. I was so young, and really all it was I really wanted everybody to know. When I learned about the law of attraction, because when I was 4, I told my mom, I was like, "I'm an angel. I'm here to help people be happy." And she was
Oh
like,
my God.
yeah, she was like, "That's blasphemy. Don't say that." But I always had that feeling, like, I always wanted to help people. And so when I found the law of attraction, I was like, "Oh my god, like, it makes so much sense." And I literally for a while, I was, like, debating people. I would go like, I would tell everybody, like, "You everything you think you know is wrong. Like, everything you know is wrong. This is what the truth is." Like, and I and eventually, my mom again was like she was like, "Olivia, you can't tell people what to believe. It's their belief." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I was like, "But I wanna tell people that wanna know." Like, people I feel like there's so much suffering in the world, and I feel like what manifestation does is it gives you an option. You just it's not to say that you won't, but you have an opportunity to suffer a lot less with manifestation. And I wanted as many people to know as I could. And that was literally my intention when I started my channel.
Yes, and it's so beautiful because I think one of the most important lessons in this whole thing is to realize your power and to take it
Mhm.
back.
Yes.
You know, I'm not American, so I don't know how that feels like. But from my perspective, as an example, I grew up in an immigrant family, that is already Turkish people in Germany are not really looked at in a nice way. Okay. We're like the biggest minority. People don't like us really, and there's a lot of racism going on, whatever these social concepts are. So I grew up in that thing of like, why am I not white? I want to have blonde hair. I want to have blue eyes. I want to be German. Like I had a whole identity crisis and like everything that goes with that, right? And these labels that we put on ourselves and that society tries to put on ourselves. And whether you believe it is real or not, okay, obviously people are trying to manipulate us into and forgetting our power. But once this is why I'm saying this is one of the most powerful things that comes out of this whole spiritual conversation, realizing you are the God of your reality, realizing your power, is to realize you're not a victim to life. Even though you might have chosen that specific family for the specific contrast that gives you in this life, you're here to change it. You're here to make it, to master that thing, right? And we can see that as well with you being 4 years old and already understanding who you really are. Someone who's here to help people, someone who's here to shift things around, right? And I think, yeah, what is there a moment like that as well in your whole manifestation journey? Like, what is the biggest gift that this whole journey has taught you?
um, Immediately what came to me was peace, but I would say freedom as well. It's funny because what introduced me into spirituality was I grew up with like panic attacks and anxiety. I didn't even know what it was until high school and we learned about it in health. And I was like, that's what happens to me. Like, and so I was just at the point where I was so anxious, I was depressed, I really hated myself. And I remember just sitting on the bed, like, I can't go on like this. I need to figure out something. And I think I just searched how to be happy. How are people happy? I remember at that time I was a hostess and I worked at a mall, and I would just watch people. And I realized that it didn't matter. Like, in society and as people, we think, as a Black person, we might think white people, they have it easy, they have happiness, or as a woman, we might think men, they have it easier, they're happy. As adults, we're like children, they have easier. But I was just watching everybody, and it didn't matter what color they were, what gender they were, what age they were. Most of them were unhappy. Just their faces were just sad, and angry. And I was like, so it's not any of these things that people tell us it's about. And so I was curious, like, what makes people happy? How do you be happy? And that's when I got into Buddhism, and that started me into meditation. And so yeah, like that moment was what really kind of led me into spirituality, was really feeling like I wanted peace. I don't think that's really like I know I wanted happiness, but I just didn't want to feel um like my mind was too much. Like I
Sit with
couldn't
this.
rest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also had an anxiety panic attack journey. Um, I call it my darkest moments when I had like a mental health crisis years ago. And what I realized was, for me, the key was to sit with it and letting it happen, and realizing that the resistance creates more of it. It's a
Yes.
whole, oh my God, I mean, we can talk about this for years, but that's really beautiful. What you just talked about is the peace and the, realizing that you don't have to look at life that way, you know?
Yeah.
Um, extremely powerful, guys. I hope you, everyone listening and watching is learning something from this conversation. I wanted to ask you specifically as well, what is your, I guess, your routine now? Do you have any sort of manifestation routine specifically for conscious manifesting? Do you wake up and do something specific? Do you do robotic affirming? Do you do meditation? Do you do scripting or vision boards? Or do you just get into the state? What do you do?
That's a great question. So I definitely don't have a routine. I'm terrible with routines. I noticed for myself, I am very ritualistic about certain things, but having a routine is like, even when I do challenges on my channel, I don't even make it past like day 3 because I just I can't stick to something. And especially in the way that I understand manifestation now, to me, it doesn't really make sense to do a bunch of techniques. So one thing that I do every single day is meditate though. But for me, meditation is not really, it's not really about me manifesting. Meditation for me is like spiritual, energetic hygiene. It's just something that I love. Like, I tell people, meditation is even better than the law of assumption, in my opinion. Like, if I had to choose between which one, I would take meditation because it's getting you where you're trying to go with the law of assumption. But other than that, like, if I decide like I want to manifest something, then I just decide, like, then it's mine. Like, it's for me, deciding is my technique. Like, it's like, oh, this is mine then. If it's something that's very like charged for me, or like, let's say I am noticing an unfavorable pattern, right? Then I'll look within myself, okay, what do I believe about me to be creating that? I'll figure that out. And then I'll revise whatever identity that came from. Nope, it's never been like this. It's always been like that. And then the thing that makes it really easy for me is, again, understanding that there's no time. That has to be the best thing I've learned this year. Really understanding there's no time. So if there's no time, there's no waiting, there's no buffering, there's no unfolding even. It's just now. But we, as the powerful gods, decide that this is probably going to take me whatever time. Nobody, it's like I tell the people on my channel, there's no God in the sky that's opening the clouds like that manifestation takes 21 days. Like, nobody's saying that except you. And so for me, it's like, well, if it's now, then it's now. And I just accept it in my mind. Um, Depending on what it is, like for me, honestly, when it comes to techniques, everything is choice because I know that the moment that I claim it, it's mine. So if I feel like like visualizing, oh, how wonderful it is to have that thing, then I'll do that. You know, if I feel like listening to some affirmations or specifying through affirmations exactly the experience that I'd like to have, then I'll do that. But really, for me, it's very mental of me just deciding, revising, and then stepping into the state of what if that were true, right? What if it were true that I did have this? What if it were true that I was like this? What if it were true that this was happening or happened now? And that automatically gives me the feeling and the thoughts and everything like that. And then I just kind of maintenance that. So when I'm thinking, if I'm thinking about it, then I'm going to remind myself of the choice that I made. Well, I decided it's like this. Now, the thing that I think really helps me and could be a little bit of a hindrance, I wouldn't say a hindrance, but is I'm very patient. So I'm not somebody who is like, I chose this thing, so now I have to look in 3D. Where is it? Oh my god, it didn't happen. You know? So and because it causes people to fall out of the state, you know? And, so for me, it's very because I'm not hinging my assumption on what 3D is doing, it's very easy for me to stick to an assumption because the core belief that I have is an assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. So it doesn't matter how outlandish whatever it is that I'm choosing to manifest is. I know, like I know that if I keep assuming this, it will be. There's no chance, there's no choice for it to be anything else. So if I want it, then I'm just going to keep assuming it. And from that, I have gotten lots and lots and lots and lots of instant manifestations. Manifestation is very fast and easy for me. Um, but I do think the sense of urgency, right, is also can be powerful as well because it gets you into the state of not backing down. Like, no, I want this now. This is going to be like this now. I won't accept reality until it's like this now. Like, and of course, that can get you into trouble too. But it can also, I think that if maybe I cared more about like 3D, then maybe I would manifest like quicker or better. But I think that for me, I have what I truly want, which is internal fulfillment. So there's nothing that I'm really needing or longing. I'm kind of just like playing around.
Oh my God, that's so powerful. You know, it is the ultimate, it is the God state, whatever you want to call it, is just a decision. You know, I think in the Bible, it's like you have to decree or something, right? And there
Mm,
have been moments before in my life where I was so angry about a situation that I was like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. This is changing now. And then literally it did change. But sometimes, you know, there's this teacher and she's a manifestation teacher as well, Yana Green. She's like, guys, you're doing too much. You just need to decide. What are you doing?
yes.
Like, she's so cool. And she often says, understand that when you decide, good and bad things may happen for you to get your manifestation. And this is also something that's like sometimes, you know, the whatever it's called, like sometimes for it to come to you, like Neville says, you know, if 1,000 people have to be moved, 1,000 people will be moved, you know, and we just cannot see the whole picture sometimes. Bashar talks about this, right? We kind of like focus on this. Oh no, this happened. No, but now I'm losing my job. And, you know, Neville talked about this too. Yes, and it's a good thing. You're losing your job. Still keep the faith. You know, the new job is coming. Whatever you're trying to manifest. I think that guy was trying to manifest more money or more income, and then he lost his job, and he's like, "Oh my god," panicking. And Neville was like, "No, dude. Like this is this is what's happening. It's keep the faith." Um, so I think that's really cool. But you not really caring too much about the 3D is iconic. I mean, I wish I could. I'm going to download. Actually, I'm deciding now to download that straight into my consciousness too.
Yes.
Because this is one of the biggest issues. People decide, people affirm, they're doing everything right. They're doing this, you know, they're already deciding, they did it. It's finished actually already, but then they keep looking. Where is it? Wait, now I did it. Okay, why isn't it here yet? And then again, they're in the identity of it's not here yet. They're in the identification of I have to wait, you know? So it's yeah, I mean, you being patient and naturally, I guess it's just also who you are and who you decided to be, right? Is someone who is just patient and who is just watching it unfold and playing. And it's just a really beautiful space. I can really feel it, you know, even in your lives and when you talk to people, it's like, guys, who are you identifying as, you know?
Yeah. And honestly, I kind of learned the hard way because I used to be very 3D focused. And when I was, my life wasn't changing. It's funny, I happened upon a live of the first coach I ever worked with. And I happened upon her live and I was telling her like, "Oh my god, like experienced so much success since we spoke years ago." And they asked me, they were like, "What would you say?" Because I was really struggling. You know, I struggled a lot in my adult life. And they asked me like, "What would you say was the mindset shift that shifted like shifted you from struggling to succeeding?" And in that moment, I didn't even realize it, but I was like, "Oh, it was when I stopped looking at the 3D." Because that was what was taking me out every time. I'd decide, I'd manifest, I'd do, and then I'd say, "It's not working, it's not changing, so I'm just gonna go back to my old self." And what it is this validation loop. It's, "What's going on? Oh, that's who I am. What's going on?" And that's what so if you keep identifying with what's going on and your identity creates reality, then when will it ever change? That loop of what's going on is who I am has to be broken. And so when I realized that, and not just broken for a bit, not just broken while you affirm, not just broken while you do sats, but really truly this what's going on, though it has everything to do with me, it also has nothing to do with me. Like, I know deeply who I am. I know deeply who I am, and I know even that if I don't like something about who I am, I can change it. I know that reality is moldable. I know it's responding to me. So if I know all of that and I know that I'm the control center, then for me, it doesn't make any sense to look at 3D for anything. Not to say that I'm never triggered or sad or don't like something, but that peace and that freedom, that manifestation, like the thing that manifestation has given me is you have a choice. Yeah, it might be like that. It might look like that, but you don't have to accept that if you don't want to. It can be the way that you want it to be. And I know how to make it be the way that I want it to be. And it's not in the 3D, it's in me, which is even closer, So it's like easy.
Yes, and it's
Yeah.
kind of the feedback loop you're saying, right? Is the to look at the 3D is to look at the mirror. It's to look at the printer when you told it either consciously or subconsciously what to print out and then being like, why did it print out this thing now? And then, well, this is, I guess this is it now. Um,
Yes.
it's, it's this really beautiful space. I think that you're describing this to arrive at the real, true understanding that it is first you, it is the choice, and then the outer appearance might change. It's to to try to change something in the 3D is to try to change the mirror, right? Or to make you stop. Let's say your mirror is smiling and you try to stop to make it smile. You have to stop smiling, right? Or you have to stop crying. It's you that creates the mirror. You described that really, really beautifully. I love that. I love that so much, and I I hope people are following, and it's yeah, it's amazing. Um, well, also, I wanted to ask you, do you have any, these like out of thin air manifestations or that kind of like glitch in the matrix thingies? Like, I mean, you're kind of playing around in what you described is already in that realm, but maybe also from your followers or your the people that you teach. Did you get any like success stories or stories like that where people are like, it just appeared?
Yeah. Um, One that I can remember was I had been looking for these vitamins that I had for like weeks and I had not found them. And I was actually in a class for out of thin air manifestation. And I wasn't trying, right? Like I wasn't even thinking about it. I just opened up my closet and they were just sitting there, like right on top. And I was like, that's impossible. Like, this is a closet I go into every single day. I've been looking for these for months and it's sitting right in front of me. Like, that's crazy. I'd say another one that was cool. I don't know if this really like counts as out of thin air, but um it was really cool. Like, I was getting my brakes done and my brakes and rotors, and I was meditating while they were being done. And I was like, why should I have to pay for brakes and rotors? Like, I'm a goddess. I shouldn't have to pay for this. And so literally, like, as the meditation ends, my boyfriend calls me and he goes, Yeah, you have a warranty on your brakes and rotors, so you never have to pay for them. Like, we're just gonna take the old ones back to the store. They're gonna fully refund you, and you'll never have to pay for them again. I was like, "What?" Like,
That's so crazy. That's so cool.
yeah,
It
yeah.
is so cool. And one thing that I want to ask you here, how do you, this is something that every conscious manifestor will face at one moment in their journey, is once you did it and it was you, but then you question if it was really you or if it would have happened anyways. Neville Goddard talks about this, and he says it will look as natural as it is,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
Sometimes, mostly it will look natural. It will look like something that adheres to the 3D laws, even though the law of assumption, the law of mirroring is the ultimate law. And I think it rules over all other laws, even gravity. But for most people, right, like most manifestations will seem like would have happened anyways. So
Yeah.
how do you, in that moment, make yourself aware or remind yourself that it was you?
So for me, that's never a question because of my experience with manifestation. So like I said, like when I discovered manifestation, I had so much instant proof that I knew I was the source of everything. So I didn't really and I won't even say that. Like, I just knew that my mind was creating. And I did go through, of course, like, especially in law of attraction, there's lots of second causes and this and that. But when I got into law of assumption, I truly bought the pearl of knowing that I'm the source of everything. So I don't look at anything as a coincidence. Like, I don't believe in coincidences. I know that I don't even question it. And I have so much proof. I feel like you like pointing out the playfulness that I do is something that I really encourage everybody to do because people learn about manifestation. They're like, great, I'm manifesting the mega millions. And they've never seen their mind, their intention come into fruition in any way, shape, or form. So of course there's all these questions and doubts and fears and this. But for me, like the things that I shared with you, it's to the point where I can't question it. I know it so deeply that this world is nothing but my mind. I remember actually in the beginning of Law of Attraction, looking around and saying, wow, I created every single thing that I'm looking at. And I said, one day I want to get to the point to where I know how I can trace everything around me back to a thought of me thinking about it. And now I'm there. So
Oh, oh my goodness. You are the OG. You are the goat. What do they say? Oh
thank
my God.
you. The go, yeah, you're right.
Oh my God, I just love you, Olivia. You're so cool. So I'm so happy to have you had on. At the end of my conversations, I do like a rapid fire round. So just like a few where you just quickly answer out of your without thinking. What's the first thing you do in the morning?
Meditate.
Meditate? Ah, okay. That's good. I have to get back to that. Um, what is your favorite thought to think at the moment?
Ooh, I love that. I'd say I'm calling forth the highest outcome of every experience. Mhm.
What is your biggest goal for 2026
Hmm.
or intention?
Gosh, I honestly haven't even thought about it.
Time isn't real.
I struggle yeah, I struggle with goals, I do. I don't think very future, I think it's because 'cause I'm too in the now, but I'd say probably expand my channel and expand my business.
Yay, I love that so
Yeah.
much. Thank you so much, Olivia, for being on my podcast. It was, oh my God, it was just flowing. I hardly looked at the questions. I was just in the flow with you, in the flow state, because this is my passion. This is what I love to do. And
Yeah.
I just was like, you know what? I'm just going to do people now that I like really find interesting, that I really want to talk to. So it was, yeah, thank you so much for coming today.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. Janem, your energy is amazing. I literally love you. You are just like I do. You're such a ball of sunshine and your energy is beautiful. Your questions are amazing. I love talking with you. It feels like we're old friends, like we've known each other, you know? So I truly enjoy and I love this. This is my passion. That's why when I saw your email, I was like, yeah, like that sounds like fun. I'd love to do that. So that sounds great.
Yay!
I've been having a lot of fun with you.
Thank you so much. It means so much to hear that from you. And yeah, thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. If you like this conversation, first of all, check out Olivia. All of her information is in the video description below. And please subscribe, share, like this video. It helps so much. I am a small channel still, not for long as I am manifesting, but please share this video. It helps a lot. And thank you so much and see you guys soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.